I have completed about 10 knives so far, and I decided to level up my game and try a friction folder. I ambitiously planned to make the knife in 2 days. What could go wrong, right? Yeah. Those 2 days turned into 5 months of me learning valuable lessons from dozens of rookie mistakes. So if you want to learn from my mistakes too and see how I finally completed the knife, make yourself comfortable and continue watching. The starting point of this project was an idea to create a sort of Japanese higakanami-inspired folding knife, at least regarding the blade locking mechanism. The first step in the forging process was to isolate, bend, and thin out the locking section of the blade. Now I continue with the blade itself, stretching it lengthwise with a crossbeam. And here is the first blade forge. I normalized it by heating it in my propane forge and letting it cool slowly in ash. Now onto the handle. I cut out an oversized leftover part of the fallow deer antler from previous project. Working with this natural material is quite challenging, simply because it is not flat or square in any direction, and one must compromise with its natural lines and structure. I marked and drilled a hole for the rivet. Then I traced the center of the hole onto the handle using a drill bit and drilled through the handle as well. The tool I am using here is made from an old file. It helps me hollow out wooden or antler knife handles. Now the task is to continue scraping the antler until the edge of the blade is properly submerged. Little test? Not quite. And after a little bit more of scraping and digging, I managed to properly hide the blade in the handle. So far so good, right? Sure. If I didn't have to do the heat treating at this stage, everything would be just marvelous. So, without further ado, let's invite the chaos into the play. Before hardening, I decided to normalize the blade once more. So I heated it to slightly lower temperature than for hardening and let it cool. Let me know in the comments if you think this might be the moment that caused the troubles coming next. One thing is for sure, hanging the blade vertically would have made it cool more evenly. After the quench, I noticed a slight bend in the spine of the blade, so I tried to straighten it while tempering in the oven. The next operation was to insert a copper pin that would serve as a hard stop blocking the blade in the open position. Since the blade was still sitting in the oven, I estimated the position of the pinhole. And guess what? Mistake number 2. It was too low. Since I was in a hurry, I didn't capture the coloring of the handle. Here you can see me stabilizing the surface of the handle with superglue. When I was working on the handle, I heard a faint click from the oven, so I went to check what happened, and this is what I found. I clamped the blade between the plates too strongly and it snapped, so I had to forge a new one. At this stage, I was under a real pressure because the knife was meant to be a gift for my father's birthday, and the clock was ticking a lot faster than I wanted. When I was finishing the second blade, I realized that it just won't fit with the handle. So I went and made a new handle from a piece of walnut. As you can see, it came out terrible. And this is when I realized I had to slow down and rethink what I was going to do next. I still liked the first handle, so I decided to recycle an old stainless cleaver and cut the blade out of that. From this point, I took all the time I needed to make sure there will be no more mistakes. At least not irreversible ones. Before the final polishing of the blade, I had to try and assemble the knife to check if everything fits and looks okay. The test assembly looks good, so let's finally finish the blade, shall we? After riveting, I also sanded the belly of the handle to improve the overall design. So I had to revisit the corners with a small file to blend the lines. Another task was to polish the rivet and the brass washers, so here is my approach to that.